小喽啰，郁闷 X 小郁闷，小喽啰，小喽啰。Since the Ukraine-Russia war broke out, no matter what time I wake up at night or in the morning, I have the urge to reach out from my phone to check the latest development of the war. Nope, the war hasn't stopped. My heart is heavy again. I can't even watch news on US TV anymore due to the heavily biased reports about the war, hatred against Russia, and even blatant propaganda. I check news on the internet so that I can decide which one deserves my attention and time. Every day, I wish for a peace deal. However, Zelensky, as the committing president of Ukraine, is asking only for money, weapons, or a fast track to EU or NATO. It makes me wonder if this person has a heart, or if he has any humanity left in him. When is he going to ask for a peace deal with sincerity? Well, to think of it, he never bothered to observe the last peace agreement between Russia and Ukraine, namely the Minsk Agreement. Why would he bother to get another one? In his fantasy world, everything would just take care of itself if Ukraine could join the EU or NATO. Zelensky knows that Putin is not in Ukraine to take over his country or harm the Ukrainian people. Putin wants to demilitarize Ukraine and to eradicate neo-Nazis. Neo-Nazis have been deployed by Ukrainian government to terrorize and intimidate pro-Russia Ukrainians in eastern Ukraine for the last 8 years. Please note that this Ukrainian government was put in place by the US-backed Orange Revolution. Otherwise, why would he use the war to get a petty fast track to the EU or NATO? This is in the middle of the war, and that is what's on Zelensky's mind. Not the lives of the Ukrainian people, not the Ukrainian cities. How absurd. As a leader, he is really messed up with his priority. Besides, he doesn't seem to know what he is doing. One day, he says he wants to negotiate a peace deal. Then on the next, he is reported to be saying that he wants to fight on. What does he care? He is safe enough to host foreign leaders. The Ukraine situation is more like a high-level fundraising gimmick and propaganda to rally up hatred against Russia, rather than a country in crisis. The US-led NATO wants Ukraine to fight to the last Ukrainian. The last Ukrainian, said those who are in perfect safety. Does Zelensky even understand that he would be the last Ukrainian to be sacrificed for NATO's so-called principle? What else is he going to do? To repatriate all the Ukrainian refugees back to Ukraine to fight for him? He seems to be living in La La Land. On April the 21st, 2022, he is reported to be saying that he wants the war to last for another 10 years. Putin is open to peace talks all the time, provided that Ukraine is not going to act recklessly again, doing things like inviting hostile military forces right to Russia's front door, or terrorizing and oppressing Russian-speaking Ukrainians. Putin is being dehumanized in Western mainstream media. However, Zelensky, as deranged and idiotic as he is being hailed as a hero in the Western mainstream media. And the EU is doing everything to fast-track Ukraine to join the EU in the middle of a war. This is not to mention that the sanctions that US and EU have forced onto the world are causing all kinds of economic complications. Hello, what is happening in the head of so many people in the West? What would it take for the war to stop? Obviously, the easiest way is for countries like US, UK, Germany, etc. to stop responding to Zelensky's pathetic cry for assistance. However, in the egotistical Western world, everyone is hyped up about condemning Russia, decorating with Ukrainian flags, and fundraising. I am 100% behind helping Ukrainian refugees. However, I think it is more important for the world to put down our feet and tell Zelensky to negotiate with Putin to get a ceasefire ASAP. A ceasefire would stop more people from becoming refugees or being killed. Why wouldn't those who claim they care about the Ukrainian people want to stop the war urgently? One reported reason is that, in their self-centered mind, a ceasefire agreement would mean to let Putin win. No, they can't let Putin win, even if it means lives and cities would be saved. What kind of pathetic love is this? I believe the Ukrainian people would want peace first and foremost. I really don't understand these people in the West. US and certain allies of US are very set on condemning Russia. In their mind, Putin is doing something incomprehensibly cruel and wrong. It makes me wonder why they can't see that whatever they say Putin has done, it is something US and other NATO countries have done before. It shouldn't be a surprise for them, but they have to act outlandishly surprised and righteous. Fortunately, a huge part of the world does not see things the way they do. But why would these narcissistic people care about what people from outside of their own little bubble think? Ukraine war is not the only war going on in the world right now. But do those wars get so much attention? Unfortunately not. A few years ago, when refugees from non-European countries flooded Europe, were there so much attention and welcome given to those refugees like what Ukrainian refugees are getting? Unfortunately not. Some drama queen politicians were even saying that the Ukrainian war is the first war that has happened in Europe since World War II. Why have they so conveniently forgotten that NATO bombed Serbia for more than 70 days non-stop in 1999? Kosovo War also happened on European soil. In recent years, the world has had a good look at how double standards and hypocrisy played out in Western media, be it about wars or civil unrests. But somehow, Western governments are still considered the champions of democracy, freedom, human rights, and what have you. I am amazed to see how insane and narcissistic so many Westerners are when it comes to international politics, or just politics in general. Thank you for watching. See you next time. 郁闷 X 小郁闷，小郁闷 X 小郁闷，小